Today I'm going to talk about Meri and kari. Hi, I'm Marcus and I play the shakuhachi. The basis for Meri and kari is that you change the distance between the blowing edge here, which is where the sound is produced, and your lips. The further apart these two are, the higher the pitch. The closer these are together, the lower the pitch. So for Meri, lowering the pitch, I bring my lips closer to the blowing edge. For raising the pitch, I bring my lips further away from the blowing edge. That's the basis for Meri and kari. End of video. Now you know everything there is to know about Meri and kari. Of course, as always, I like to make stupid jokes, and Meri and kari is actually quite a tricky thing to learn on the shakuhachi. So how do you do it? The basic technique for playing Meri and kari is that you tilt your head. You go into the Meri position, lowering the pitch by tilting your head forward. This means you bring your lips closer to the blowing edge. From the neutral position, if you tilt your head up, go into the kari position, you bring your lips away from the blowing edge, and by this you raise the pitch. This is really the main technique for Meri and kari. Take note, however, that you don't change this by moving the flute, okay? Don't do that. Your elbows should stay in the same position. Move your head like so. And imagine that you have a hinge here where the back of the flute is touching your chin. So at this point you have a contact point. If you move up and move down, the contact point stays the same. And by that you have a very fine control of the distance between the lips and the blowing edge. However, there is much more to this technique than just that. For example, I can tilt my head down, so go into the Meri position and try to change the pitch, but this happens. What happened here? I'm going down, the pitch stays the same. What you may not have seen is that at the same time that I went down and brought my lips closer to the blowing edge, I also opened the top hole. This top hole here, secret shakuhachi knowledge that I'm revealing here exclusively to you, is that the top hole behaves just like the finger holes. If you close a finger hole, the pitch goes down. If you open a finger hole, the pitch goes up. Yeah, the same with the top hole. If you close the hole, the pitch goes down. And if you open it, the pitch goes up. So that's the first complication. The second complication, it's not just the distance of the lips to the blowing edge that changes the pitch, but it's actually also the speed of the airstream with which you blow into the instrument. So if I keep the angle constant and just change the velocity of the airstream, you can hear that the tone is getting quieter, of course, because I'm using less air, but the pitch is also going down quite a lot. So this means you need to juggle these multiple factors of having the right airspeed and having the right blowing angle. And basically for Meri, this always means that you combine the two. So for playing a Meri note, you just not only change your head angle, but you also play the Meri notes quieter. This is one fundamental aspect of shakuhachi music. The music is intended in a way that the Meri notes are supposed to be played quieter. And coming from a Western music background, this may confuse you because the ideal there is that every note you can play, every pitch you can play at the same volume level. For shakuhachi, this is not possible. Meri notes, in particular deep Meri notes, you cannot play loudly. And this is a central characteristic of shakuhachi music. So you just need to get used to it. Because this is just a Shakuhachi Introduction series, these are just the fundamental aspects of playing Meri and kari. There's a lot more to it, so it's not just the head angle and the airspeed, but you will also use a third technique, which is closing holes or half-holing for changing the pitch as well. And you will have to juggle all these elements and more, which I'm not going to talk about today, to play correct Meri notes. Which leads me to a very important fact about Meri and kari. learning these movements is actually only part of the problem. It's maybe 10% of the problem of being able to learn to play Meri and kari. The other one is that you need to be able to hear the correct pitches. Because if I take again this movement down from the note Re that I've used before, what you really need to be able to do is that you are able to play precise pitches. So if I go down from Re, I don't really want to do this, where I'm only going down a tiny bit, or I don't want to do this, which is way too low. So you have to be able to learn to hear the pitches and then produce the pitches on the shakuhachi so that you play in tune. And to complicate matters even more, some of the pitches for Meri notes are not the Western equal temperament pitches, but are actually lower. So for example, this note here, U, which is between Re and Chi, this is lower than the half step in equal temperament that you would have in a Western scale, in a Western tuning. I'm not going to complicate matters even more, because basically to get started playing Meri notes, what you need to learn to do is that you play a note and then you change the distance between your lips and the blowing edge. Or to go up. And really, as with all these techniques, and I say this in every video that I do about shakuhachi technique, you can get the basic idea of Meri and kari and how to play it from a video like this. But to really get a sense of what proper Meri and kari is, you need some detailed instruction on how to play Meri and kari. So at some point, to really learn Meri and kari, you will need one-to-one instruction. You will need explicit feedback on what you're doing and how you can improve your playing. But for making a start on playing Meri and kari, the basic practice for doing this is this movement here, is tilting your head and observing how it changes the pitch. So you can turn this practice into a little game if you like, because you don't have to do this whole movement within just one breath. You can imagine you're on top of a hill and you go down the hill. So you always try to go lower. Start on Re, for example, again. Okay, now I'm a bit lower, but I'm out of breath. So what do? I stay in the same position and then I continue descending down the hill. Again out of breath. And so on and so on and so on and so on. The main point of this exercise is to get rid of this pressure that you have to do the whole movement within just one breath, because in particular at the beginning your breaths will be quite short. So this will help, as I say, relieve the stress of having to do this in one breath. Just breathe in between, keep the position, and then start going down further. Same, of course, for kari, for going up. I hope you found this whirlwind tour about the fundamental technique of playing Meri and kari useful. If you did, please leave me a comment. Please like the video. As always, please subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Starting at the beginning. So you always try to go low.